Telephoto lens undoubtedly has many useful features that could make it indispensable for all sorts of photography genres. However, when choosing a telephoto lens, people always associate pro telephoto lens to better image quality and better performance. But is that true? Today I'm comparing two versatile telephoto zoom lenses. One is a budget lens and the other is a pro lens. Which one is better for you? Find out more in this video. So in today's video, we're going to compare these two 35 to 100mm lenses from Panasonic Lumix. So the 35 to 100mm lens is equivalent to 70 to 200mm lens in full frame terms, especially in terms of field of view. And the 70 to 200mm lens is actually a legend for anything that requires that compression, that extra telephoto reach, and that extra punch. People will usually go to the 70 to 200mm lens. In micro four thirds terms, we have a whole bunch of different kinds of telephoto lenses that can fit into this 70 to 200mm kind of role. From Panasonic Lumix, we have these two lenses, the Panasonic Lumix 35 to 100mm f2.8 and also the f4 to f5.6 version. And then from Olympus or OM system, we have the 40 to 150mm f2.8 lens, quite a bit longer. And also we have a whole different kinds of budget telephoto lenses from Panasonic Lumix and also from Olympus, covering anywhere between 40 to 150mm as well. However, today we're going to narrow it down to just two lenses, the Panasonic Lumix 35 to 100mm f2.8 and also the f4 to f5.6 versions, because they are the closest in terms of focal length to the original 70 to 200mm lens. First, let's talk about sharpness. No. I'm not supposed to show this thing in this video. But anyway, sharpness is the thing that people ask a lot when they are comparing between the f2.8 version of this lens and the f5.6 version of this lens. Which one is sharper? And the answer might sound surprising and boring at the same time. Because from my own personal experience, both of these lenses are extremely sharp. Boring, right? But the surprising part is that the f5.6 lens is actually as sharp as the f2.8 version of the lens. So back then I made a comparison video about the sharpness test between some micro four thirds telephoto lens. You might want to check it out up here. But on that video, I came to the conclusion that these lenses are sharp. So yeah, if you want to learn more about the sharpness, you can go to that video, but you cannot go wrong in terms of sharpness when you choose either one of these lenses. Right now, I will show some sample pictures taken the 35 to 100mm f2.8 lens. I apologize beforehand that I don't take that many pictures using this lens because I treat the 35 to 100mm f2.8 as sort of my professional telephoto lens for event photography, and I cannot really show that kind of images in this video. So yeah, apologize for that. However, now I will show you some sample pictures taken using the 35 to 100mm f4 to f5.6, and I took a lot of pictures using this lens because this is my favorite telephoto lens, and I can even say this is my favorite lens for micro four thirds. So yeah, enjoy the sample pictures. You can take a look at what these lenses can do, and hopefully they can give you some idea about the sharpness and the image quality that you should expect from these lenses. Next, let's talk about aperture, another elephant in the room, and obviously the f2.8 version of the lens wins hands down because it has larger aperture, making it possible to get better background blur, especially for portrait photography. And also it has better low light capabilities because with larger aperture, you don't have to crank up your ISO too high. However, the f4 to f5.6 version of the lens is not too far behind. especially for shooting landscape photography. When you're shooting landscape photography, you will stop down your lens anyway to get more depth of field, so having a larger aperture is not really a benefit at all. So if you do lots of landscape photography or scenery photography, the f4 to f5.6 version of the lens might be all that you need. Next, let's talk about build quality, and again, hands down, the f2.8 lens definitely wins. It's made from metal. It also has weather sealing, so it has better build quality obviously, and also it is more rugged with that weather sealing. Holding the f2.8 lens on your hands, you can definitely tell that this is a high quality item. There's a certain kind of heft that is usually associated with, high quality items, and the f2.8 lens has that kind of quality. And you can feel confident about using this lens in more demanding situations because it is again more rugged compared to the f4 to f5.6 version of the lens. Also, one more thing, this lens has an internal zooming mechanism, so when you zoom the lens doesn't really trombone, so everything is happening internally, so it's a little bit more neat and more clean when it comes to the design of the lens. With that said, the f4 to f5.6 lens is made mostly out of plastic, so it's definitely lighter, but it doesn't mean that this lens is wimpy or fragile. It's actually quite a strong lens. I have this lens since probably 2015 or 2016, and I use this lens frequently, and I can definitely tell that this lens can take a lot of abuse, and you can just use it as a workhorse lens as well. Now let's talk about another important aspect to consider, and that is portability. The 35 to 100mm f2.8 is definitely smaller when you compare it to the full frame version or even the APS-C version of the usual 70 to 200mm f2.8 lens. But when you compare it to the f4 to f5.6 lens, this is definitely larger and heavier. The 35 to 100mm f4 to f5.6 is definitely more portable. It's definitely lighter, it's definitely smaller compared to the f2.8 lens, making it possible for you to use this lens for travel photography, to carry it easily around when you travel by plane, when you are around the town or things like that. So basically this is a 70 to 200mm lens that you can fit on the palm of your hand, and this is the original essence of Micro Four Thirds philosophy. Small, lightweight, great image quality, great price. And that segues nicely into my last point, but an important point nevertheless, which is price. The f2.8 lens is actually a pro grade lens, so they will be asking for a premium price for this particular lens, but in my personal opinion, it is worth the asking price. You'll get a fantastic build quality, you'll get a really great image quality, and you get weather sealing, and it's a 70 to 200mm lens that can still fit on the palm of your hand. It's still relatively portable when you compare it to the other 70 to 200mm lens from other formats. On the other hand, the f4 to f5.6 lens is only a consumer grade lens, so it's not going to be as expensive as the pro grade f2.8, and that makes this lens, in my own personal opinion, a better value for your money. So now, before I end this video, I just want to share a quick tips on how to choose between these two lenses. If you don't need great build quality, you just need something that is rugged and can survive for many years. If you don't need large aperture because you are mostly shooting landscape photography, if you need something small and light because you do a lot of travel photography, or you just want something that can fit into your everyday bag easier, then the choice is the f4 to f5.6 lens. It's a no-brainer. It is also not as expensive as the f2.8 lens. However, if you are doing a more serious kind of project with your client, if you're doing portrait photography where you are required to have blurry background, if you shoot a lot in lower light condition, or probably an event photography, that kind of stuff, I think the choice is the f2.8 lens. This will give you that kind of advantage. So yeah, that's how I choose between these two lenses. I happen to have both of them because I use them for different kinds of application. This is my travel and everyday telephoto lens. This is my serious photography and video lens. And that wraps up today's video. So that is all for the comparison between the 35 to 100mm f2.8 and the f4 to f5.6. Hopefully this has been helpful, inspiring, useful. And please comment down below, which one do you prefer, the 35 100mm f4 to f5.6 or the f2.8 version of the lens? If you have any question about today's video, please comment down below as well. I will try my best to answer them. Also, don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to my channel down below. And if you want to support my channel even further, once again, consider using the affiliate links on the description below or use the super thanks button to make a small donation to my channel. Thank you, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.